So, BluRayAnonymous had a challenge put out there to me and Logan Toxic and anybody else that wanted to do it, basically, saying that what are 10 movies that you can't do without. So the first video I did for this I didn't upload, and it was kind of a cheat. I took 10 favorite Blu-rays that I couldn't do without. And I might do that down the road. But I thought, what's the best way to decide 10 favorite movies that I honestly, truly can't do without, that I really go back to over and over again, and that are important parts of my collection or just my viewing, watching in general. And I thought I could look through my DVDs and my Blu-rays, and I could bring them over and list them out and stuff, or write it down. But stream of consciousness time. If I'm going to get the truest, realest, most raw answer that I can give you, then Nathan, I'm going to go with, by doing this surprisingly off the top of my head, 10 movies. So, what comes to mind? Well, the first one that instantly comes to mind is actually Black Christmas, the 1974 classic slasher film by Bob Clark, who actually came over here in Canada to shoot the film in Ontario, and because, well, we had tax cuts for horror films, so a lot of people would come from stateside to make horror films over here, Terror Train, Prom Night, stuff like that, and we get like basically tax cuts and cheaper labor and stuff like that, and better actors. Black Christmas has always been one of my favorite films, ever since I was a young child. It originally became one of my favorite films by scaring the crap out of me. It's a very, very tame film compared to horror films of today, but the visuals and the camera work, the acting, and just the overall downbeat ending of this film just endeared it to me, and it was one that I found myself watching over and over again, to the point where it basically became a Christmas Eve tradition. And now me and my son, usually on Christmas Eve, and my daughter actually, she's going to sit down and watch Black Christmas, right up there with It's a Wonderful Life and another classic Christmas films. Okay, that's number one. Now number two. It's one that actually meant a lot to me, and I was unaware at the time, but I can see it now when I watch back on the film, that it meant a lot to the director too, because of personal issues that were going on at the time. And that would be Alfred Hitchcock's Shadow of a Doubt. Joseph Cotten has always been a favorite character actor of mine, and I had an extreme crush on Teresa Wright as a young child. And Shadow of a Doubt just is one of those perfect little homespun murder tales. It's a thriller. It's set in the place that Hitchcock does best, and that's those little small hamlets that you find where nothing really happens, but everything is going on underneath the surface. It's a great film. Hume Cronin, who actually worked writing with Hitchcock, is in this film, and he plays a very morbid type of character that I really liked. I really found him funny, and I really enjoyed the movie Shadow of a Doubt from beginning to end. Donald Carey, who I would actually later go on to watch in Days of Our Lives, which was a soap opera. It still is a soap opera, but he actually played the Dr. Horton, I think, Tom Horton, back in the day, and that was his last thing that he did. It was kind of like he was a staple on the show for years. But that was my that's number two. Number three. Oh man, this is harder than I thought. Maybe should I stuff that I watched a lot. Tenebrae. Yeah, I like thrillers, and Tenebrae is a classic Argento thriller, and it just seems to be the one that I keep going back to. I mean, he's made some great stylistic films, stuff like Suspiria. He's worked with Bava on Inferno. He's done really out there Disney-ish stuff with Phenomena. And Tenebrae just seems to be a movie that I go back and watch over and over again. I really love the way the film is done. I like the pacing of the film. I like the murders. And the murders are almost kind of an art form, this film. And it's always been a favorite film of mine. Next up, we just did Disney, didn't we? So let's go with that. One of my favorite Disney films of all time is Aristocats. And I can go back and forth between The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Fantasia, but Aristocats it's always been one of those films that's stuck strongly with me. And Aristocats has one of the best scores of any Disney film for me. It's got a very cool, very jazzy score, and I like that style of music. It really fits that era. It really fits the animation, and we're trying something different. For me, it really worked. It's not one of their bigger known films, but Aristocats will always be the Disney movie that I will go back to. And I love Disney. Next up is Narrow Margin. Not the most well-known thriller. It's a film noir. We're not talking about the Kevin Costner film here. We're talking about the early original, and it is a great film. It's on one of my film noir box sets, and it's on box set number 2. So volume 2 of the film noir collection box sets gives you Narrow Margin. It's a great film. Has some twists at the beginning of it, stuff you don't expect. There's a little cool twist at the end that I kind of figured out, but it's still a really cool twist. Got to remember when this was done that it was more of like the first, it was groundbreaking. And if you have the set, do yourself a favor and listen to the commentary as well, because the commentary on Narrow Margin is phenomenal. I watched the movie Narrow Margin, loved it, went back, watched the commentary. Next up is Gold Rush. Gold Rush is a Charlie Chaplin classic film, and there's just so many classic scenes in it. Some people think that City Lights is his best film. Other people say The Kid, or you'll even get some people that'll go for Monsieur Verdot, which is actually a film that I like a lot. I'm a huge Chaplin fan. I'm a huge fan of silent films, especially silent comedy, slapstick, stuff like that. And I think it's highly underrated. But Gold Rush just seemed to hit all the right spots, all the right places, and tugged on the heartstrings in the places it's supposed to as well. We've all seen the dancing rolls, and we've all watched the videos with the cabin perilously going to the edge. It's just such a great classic film, and it's one that I've always liked. Now, you know, some of these here are movies that some people may not enjoy, but this is my list, so there, we got this number 4, right? No, oh, man, this is up to 8 minutes right, and I got number 5. And I'm like looking around, trying to see if anything gives me a visual cue. And at the same time, I'm trying to not to look around and not to get a visual cue, because I want to see what comes to mind. Oh my god, what didn't I think of it? Magnificent Seven. Let's put a Western on this list. Magnificent Seven, as a kid, Magnificent Seven was one of those movies that I just kept revisiting and revisiting. There were some really cool characters in that film. And when you're a kid and you're playing cowboys, and when I was a kid, we played the Magnificent Seven, and I was the guy with the knife. Just saying, I love that film, and it's a classic. It's just a fun, great film. It's a classic Western. I mean, like, there's so many Westerns I could have put on here. I could put on Shenandoah, Winchester 73. But for me, for my childhood, let's go with Magnificent Seven. Number 5. Number 6. Let's do a film that I watched a lot when I was growing up. And do I want to go with that one? Because there's a couple I can go with here. Oh, man. Kiss Me Deadly. Ralph Meeker plays, for me, the definitive Mike Hammer in one of my favorite film noirs of all time. It is a great movie. It is out on the Criterion label, and that is definitely the best way to get. The features on it are phenomenal, and the print source is amazing. Great audio as well. Kiss Me Deadly is just a fantastic film noir. I love film noirs. and very different. You get to see young Cloris Leachman, I think, in this one as well. By the way, it's not what you expect when you go in. There's definitely some nice twists along the way, and the camera work, the cinematography is just incredible here. 6, right? Number 7, we're going to go right into it, and it is a it's blanked. I can't believe I just blanked. Maybe these stream of consciousness videos aren't so good after all. Batman 1989. I went and saw this with a broken leg on opening night, and it did not disappoint. As a guy just finishing up high school, and as a Batman fan, it was really cool to see that they were making a Batman the way that I wanted to see him made. And that the next film would also make Batman the one I wanted to see him made. Then Batman would be kind of how I wanted to see him made. Then it would be, oh my God, what the hell have they done to Batman? Then years later it would be, what the hell is this real hyper-realistic crap that really doesn't suit the Batman mythos? Interesting. Batman 89 sticks as the best Batman, and by the way, the best actor that's ever played Batman is Michael Keaton. Sorry, just the rest of the guys. Maybe good actors, but they just didn't get Batman right because they couldn't get Batman and Bruce Wayne right. Keaton's the only guy to ever do that in the live-action series, so don't talk to me about animation. Okay, number 8, and this is one that you're not going to see on anybody else's list because it's just a personal favorite of mine, and I really don't know why. It's just a movie that I watched a lot, and it's called Humoresque, starring Joan Crawford, and I think, God, it's been a while since I've seen this one. Maybe John Garfield. Basically, it's about a violinist who is brought down the road of ruin by the fancy Joan Crawford. I just really like this film, and I watched it many times as a kid. And which brings me into number 9, which is actually Three in a Match. Three in a Match was one of Humphrey Bogart's first films where he played a gangster. And it was a brutal gangster, and it was a brutal film. The movie definitely was not a happy ending, and how she saves her little boy at the end of the movie, tragic, touching, and fantastic. This list has a lot of movies that I'm guessing most people here were not thinking it would be on my list of films. Number 10, so many I can go with, but you know what, I'm going to go with another superhero film just because it gives me something that I watched a lot. That is, well, you know, I picked up Man of Steel today. That's not the movie, but Superman 2 is. Superman 2 was a fantastic, fun film that, of course, had stuff going on in the background where some people liked it, some people didn't because the director was unceremoniously dropped. But you know what? Superman 2 pretty much was the first movie to take a comic book and actually bring it to life the way that me as a child would want to see a comic book movie made. We had fantastic bad guys, we had epic fights, we had humor, we had Margot Kidder actually had her most stunning, and we had the perfect Superman. Those are my top 10. Hope you liked them. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope some of them surprised you and made you think about your list. Ooh, went dark. So this stuff has gotten really cold right now, so it's time for tea. Thanks for the challenge.